comic books and books this week. I told you there was going to be a little bit of controversy because we're going to be getting into those Venom rumors and what exactly has transpired there. A very interesting fan reaction, it would seem. Also, Lex Luthor, Superman situation. They're both just kind of trying to do the same stuff, just with different, I don't know. Let's see what's going on in the panels. Let's talk about this. Hello nerds, welcome to the Clips channel. This is a clip, as if the channel name was not specific enough. This clip specifically comes from a show that I do over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom. We are going to be talking about comic books and books, very specifically in this clip. So news from the last week that has to do with everything comic books and books. Generally more on the comic book side, because the books side of things is kind of a little bit more slow going when it comes to nerdy content, but we do still cover it. So that being said, I appreciate you joining me. Let's get into the news. Okay, so we are going to start by circling back to things we've talked about previously. We do have a couple follow-ups and corrections. First up is Spider-Man, the Venom thing and the Mary Jane, I think, was the more specific tease that we were getting. We were getting all of these teases with Mary Jane, and something big was about to happen. Well, that something big has been revealed, and Mary Jane is Venom. So yeah, I'm just gonna read the script because opinion is just going to hold us up. So it's official, Mary Jane Watson is indeed the all-new Venom. A storyline penned by Ewing with art from Carlos Gomez, fully kicked off. However, it seems like fan reception has not been all that great. That is to say the least. Early reactions online seem to be pretty critical of the new direction. We'll see if the story can redeem the readers or if they're just kind of shock for the sake of shock. We'll be keeping tabs. Let's move on. That is the only follow-up that we had this week. So now it's time to get into the regular ass news. First up is we have the other big thing in the other big shocker this week in comics. This one, DC is doing weird things, like really weird. As if having two Lex Luthors wasn't going to be weird enough, because that's the kind of end result of the current Superman arc right now, is two Lex Luthors, but not just that. One of those two Lex Luthors has Superman's powers and none of the reservations of OG Lex Luthor. This is a cloned Luthor with the powers of a Kryptonian. Yep, they did that. So yeah, is it just shenanigans for the sake of shenanigans? This is how I'm going to pass this off to you guys. Is this just shenanigans? Like, is this just them like, our readership's down, we got to do something crazy, I just pulled this out of my butt, what does it do? Or is there a legitimate motivation? I haven't read Superman for a number of years at this point, just because there hasn't been anything exceptional. So what do you guys think? If you're currently reading the arc, I'm super intrigued by your opinion on what's coming up. But let's move into nicer news about comic books. We have Millar has announced a new Nemesis comic book. That's right. Nemesis, where'd the title go? Nemesis Forever is the name of it. Wow, that shouldn't have been so hard to remember. So Mark Millar has announced Nemesis Forever #1, illustrated by Matteo Scalera, is launching August of 2025, long-awaited sequel to Millar's original incredibly violent Nemesis series. So if you don't know what Nemesis is, like there's a whole big long story about it, but the basis here is Mark Millar wanted to see what it would be like if Superman was an asshole, and then DC was like, yeah, you can't really do that. So then he decided, all right, well, I'm going to take it a step further and do it over at Image. So he went, all right, so let's say, what if Superman was the ultimate villain, or not Superman, Batman, I apologize, Batman. What if Batman was the ultimate villain? What if Batman was more Joker than Bruce? And yeah, I mean, I guess Joker's not the best comparison because it's not quite the same kind of level of antics, but it is that level of seriousness. It is definitely Batman levels of like the exact opposite. He, instead of fighting crime, he's creating crime and killing people and doing crazy things, and that is Nemesis. So yeah, it is going to be an incredibly exciting ride, and we will be keeping tabs as we can. I don't know, comic books are hard for me. Speaking of Nemesis, it brings us perfectly to this week's recommendation. As for the suggestion, especially with Nemesis Forever on the horizon, you absolutely need to read Nemesis Reloaded. The 5-issue limited series written by Mark Millar, stunning art by Jorge Jimenez, who is absolutely one of my favorite comic book artists of all time, serves as both a continuation and a bit of a reboot for the Nemesis concept within the broader Millar world. It connects threads from the original Nemesis and even Wanted. A story follows a new version of the masked menace, Matt Anderson, as he essentially gets recruited into the fraternity of super criminals by Wesley Gibson himself. It's slick, violent, darkly funny, and Jimenez's artwork is legitimately phenomenal. It perfectly sets the stage for whatever ultraviolence Millar has planned in Nemesis Forever, so that is why it is your suggestion for the week.
Subscribe. That is all.
Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.